Hello everybody. In this lesson, we will learn the select statement in MySQL. The select statement is used to work with columns to specify what columns you want to see in your output. You type select in asterisk. This asterisk means everything. That means you're selecting everything in your table, all the columns in your table. So select all from, then the name of your table, which in this case we are using customers, and then a semicolon. The semicolon actually shows the end of a query statement. So if I'm putting a semicolon, it means I'm done with my statement and I'm ready to execute. Let's execute. See, these are all the columns that are contained in my table. We have column, customer ID, first name, last name, city, gender, birth date, and email. It is always necessary you specify the database you are working with. Why? Because if a wrong database is highlighted, you might be told the table does not exist. For example, if my first class is highlighted just the way it is now, and then I execute this statement again, can you see what is showing me? Table, table first class, customers does not exist. That's because I'm using a database that don't have the table called customers. So it's always important that you you ensure your database is well selected, especially if you have much database and much tables in your schema. So to do this, there are different ways you can select your database. You can just come to your schemas, locate the database you want to use. For this case, I want to use webt, and then double click, it will be highlighted just like I did. Or you can come to this search button and search for your database webt. It will pop out, then you double click for it to be highlighted, showing that that is the database that you are currently using. Or you can as well right click and set it as default schema. Another way is by making use of the statement use, the name of the database you want to use. So you can just write a statement. Let me select last class as a database now. So you can just write this statement use, then you type the name of the database you wish to use, which is webt, and a semicolon, showing that you are done with your statement. So execute. See, is successful. If I should locate my database webt now, it's highlighted, showing that that's what I'm currently using. Okay, so there are different ways you can use to highlight your database, just to be sure that this is the database that you are using. Okay, the last way you can do this is, let me highlight another one now. The last way we can do this, which is generally much accepted, is by adding your database just before the name of your table. I will type my database here, webt, then a dot, name of the table, and a semicolon. Let's execute. Even if another database is presently highlighted in our schema, but the fact that we specify the database here, that's the particular database that we are currently using. Okay, so let me highlight this again. So So these are the different ways that we can use to make sure that we know our database that we are using. And this is something you should consider, especially when you are working with much tables and lots of database. This is the best practice. We have seen how to select everything from our table, all the columns in our table called customer. We don't have to always select all everything from our table. We might want to select just a column from our table. To do this, remove this asterisk that means everything. In place of it, specify the name of the column you want to see in your output. We can execute this statement. Our customer table is having just one column called first name. If I want to retrieve more columns, but not everything, I can add a comma to this first name, specify another column which I would like to be last name, and then execute again. We are now having two columns, first name, last name. So for you to retrieve more columns, just add a comma to the first one and then execute. It will give you the columns you specify. This is mostly used if you are dealing with a very large amount of columns in your table. Let's see how we can as well see our customer's date of birth. So I execute again. This is the customers we have with their date of birth. This ones that is showing null, it means we don't know their date of birth. It wasn't imputed. So this is how you can always retrieve and use the select command to retrieve either all or part of your columns. Another thing that I would like us to take note of in this video is the distinct. To use the distinct, let me copy again, and then I include, instead of the everything again, I'll type distinct, name of the column I want to see in my output. This time I want it to be first name. Okay, distinct returned every of my customer first name. Why? Because none of the name is the same. But if I have names that are the same spelling, it will pick out one out of the many numbers of the same names I have. Okay, let me explain this better with the use of gender. You know, in gender column, we have female, we have male, we have repetition of female or male, female or male. So now instead of my select to return all the female, 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 male, male, male in my output, it will just return female or male. That is the function of this distinct that is included. So let's use gender to see what we are saying. Gender, okay. Distinct gender is giving me just female or male. So that means we have female in this column and male repeated in this column, but it's returning just one out of all. Let me remove the distinct so you will see what I'm trying to explain here. Can you see how when I remove the distinct, it's giving me repetition of female, male, female, male, female, and then the null value for the ones that were not imputed. So this is how distinct can be used. Before I forget, selecting all has limitation. Look at this part, limit to 1000 rows. So if you are using the select all command, you have to be careful with your limit. In case your data is so lengthy, you can set your limit. And if you're having beyond this limit, you can as well set it to be don't limit. We are done with our work and we wish to save it. We can save our work by using Ctrl S in your keyboard, or you come to File, come to Save As. It will open this for you, showing you everything in your system, including desktop documents and all. So if I want to save it in my document, I can click my document and then save it with the name I want, which is MySQL already saved. Okay, let me change the name, say my first class, and I save this. The name I've changed to my first class. So this is how you can save your work. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please do well to subscribe to our channel so you can always get notification each time we upload a new video. Thank you. Bye bye.